We are back. We are here. PJ Duke, fresh off a winning world title. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. The last time you were on here is when you were committing to Penn State, and I said, "How are we going to top that?" Now you went and made a senior world team, won a world title. Seems like the timing is right. You one upped yourself.
Yeah, I'm always trying to one up myself for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, man, you're 2 days out from winning a world title. How's it feel? Is it like kicked in yet? Now that you're back in the States as a world champ?
yeah, I mean, it was pretty surreal experience just, being on that podium and like I said it in another interview, just like being able to run with the flag and listen to the national anthem while on top of the podium's probably like one of the best feelings you could ever feel. So that was like pretty crazy.
And you're a very stoic guy. Like I just had Jaden James on here, another KD guy, Penn State guy last week. And it's like
Mhm.
you don't see the emotion too much, so you're always wondering like how exciting it is, what you're feeling. Like it's almost like when you win, you're expecting it. I think, your win over Yianni, which we'll talk about in a little bit, like that was one of those rare times you actually showed excitement. How does that compare like winning the worlds? Like you were a lot more stoic throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, I think just I kind of hold myself to a pretty high standard. So, obviously being on the senior team and going to U20 Worlds, it's like kind of expected for me to perform and win just because I'm already, pretty accomplished senior level. And just especially like such a strong country like the US, like it wouldn't be very good if our senior rep is going out to U20s and losing. So,
That's
um,
fair.
yeah, I had a little bit of pressure on me to do well. And so it's kind of more expected as well just from last year, taking third. Um, I've worked really hard just to get better and it worked out. So.
What do you think was the difference in getting over the hump? You took a bronze last year. You lost a close 5-5 semi. What do you think it was that got you over the hump, that got you from that bronze to gold this year?
Yeah, definitely just kind of like more on the technical side. Just figuring out freestyles. I mean, last year was kind of like my first like real freestyle cycle with obviously I went to Fargo like a couple years prior, but that was my first time like going to a full circuit, and I think I just kind of lacked experience wrestling freestyle, and obviously wrestling internationally is a little different than wrestling in the States. So, I just kind of had to learn that feel. And once I got a hang of it, I think it really helped. And I also got a lot better at wrestling since last year. So that obviously helped too. But I think it was more of like a experience thing than anything.
Yeah. And I mean, what an awesome team to be on when maybe the greatest U20/junior world team of all time. Five
Yeah.
champions, eight medalists. What was the vibe like? I'd say it in quotes, like in the locker room. Like, what's it like being a part of that team?
It was, I mean, I've known all the guys for a pretty long time, the majority of them. And, it's obviously really cool that literally half the team was Penn State guys that I practiced with every day. So that made it a little more fun, just, having familiar faces. And obviously, most of the other guys were on the same team last year. So I knew them from last year. And
Yeah.
um, it's just incredible just because all the people that layer, they're such amazing people as well. So um, it's not like you'd expect them to have ego, but they really don't. Like all the kids are the best in the country, but they're just still cool to hang out with, normal kids. So it's good to kind of have people that you can just hang out with and kind of forget about wrestling during these events,
Yeah.
just because it can be so stressful.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned Penn State, and that's such another cool component. Half the team was Penn State. And to
Yeah,
even take it a step further, like I tweeted out yesterday, like, it's one thing to just get half the team, but then you guys went 5 for 5 with getting medals. You and Blaze win
yeah.
gold. Henkel gets a silver. The Marisola twins get bronze. How much does that mean to you? And what's that like getting to really establish a rapport with these new teammates now? Like I know you've been in the room with them, and I know you've been training them
Yeah.
a bit, but like this is kind of the next level of like establishing a rapport with them.
Yeah. It's been incredible, honestly. Like you said, I've kind of known the guys a little bit for being committed, and I've crossed paths with them being in the room and stuff. But now that I'm like really starting to get to know them, it's kind of nice just because it's almost reassuring my decision at Penn State is the right one,
Yeah.
just because they're such good people. And like the Marisolos and Blaze, I'm Hankel, like I've only known them for a couple months, and it's been like I know them forever. So um yeah, it's been nothing but great. I'm just so happy to be at Penn State, and the coaches are amazing. It's just like a big family.
Yeah, for sure. And, we don't get into the technical aspects of matches on this podcast too much. That's not really my sort of thing. But your match with the Iranian had kind of a funny finish where he thought he was winning on criteria, and he started like celebrating. Like he started doing the celebration. Were you surprised towards the end that he wasn't trying to score? Like, did you get the vibe that he thought he was in control or he had criteria?
Yeah, so honestly, I thought that he was kind of just gassed out, and I still kind of believe he was. And I think I was kind of, we were hand fighting pretty hard that match, and I kind of think he was just kind of didn't have anything left in the tank, which I'm sure he probably would have. It's just such a weird situation. I'm sure if he knew he was down, he would have probably went a little harder. But like as I was like sitting in those tie ups and nobody was doing anything, I was like, all right, I'll sit here. I'm not gonna, But yeah, it was definitely like that was my first time experiencing something like that, and luckily I was the one up, so I didn't have to worry about scoring. I just had to maintain the lead.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there's pressure on you making the senior world team, that there's like an expectation that, well, juniors, U20s, like you better win, you're the senior rep. How much of this tournament did you have to try to truly focus on just this tournament in hand? Like senior worlds are in like 4 weeks. How much was it trying to just stay focused on this tournament? And, we see it in sports all the time where like there's that look ahead. Like you're looking past somebody, looking to the next tournament, game, whatever, and whatever sport. How was it difficult for you to just focus on this task at hand and not have that expectation like I'm supposed to win, so I'm still kind of focused on seniors a little bit?
Yeah, honestly, for me, I'd kind of do. I feel like I do a good job of kind of like staying in the present and not focusing too much about what's coming up. So I kind of stayed kept my head in Bulgaria, not really worried about Croatia too much. So I'd say I kind of do a good job of that, and obviously the coaches do a good job of like keeping my mind there and saying positive things and telling me not just keeping my mind where it needs to be instead of focusing in the future.
Yeah, and speaking of coaches, KD, I just brought this up with Jaden James last week, and it's like you can't see what's going on in the landscape without KD and KD Training Center. What is your perspective on the influence Coach KD has had on you and this world title run?
Yeah, KD, I can't even kind of shorten it on how much he's influenced my life so far. And like just not even on the mat, just so much. Like I feel like it's almost more off the mat. Just how to be a good person and life lessons that are really important. And I've made some mistakes, and he's corrected me just like almost like a big brother would, and just even about life. And I'm grateful to have him and just to help myself grow as a person.
Does it also help, like, reuniting now with KD Training Center guys at Penn State? Like, you got Rocco Welch there. You got Jaden James coming in. Like, what's that like knowing that it's not just a club coach that you're kind of saying goodbye to? Like, I feel like sometimes club coaches at that level, like, you go to college and you're kind of done with that. You can not only maintain that relationship, but you're with other KD Training Center guys really for your entire college career.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, just such a group of guys just being at KD's, and we're being successful going to such a great program like Penn State. And it's awesome just to look around and see like I'm surrounded with people that I kind of grew up with alongside. So it's just awesome. Those guys are so successful, and I've kind of worked hard with them all the way up, and just to get into that room is incredible. And obviously Jaden's not there yet, but me and Rocco are still really close, and it's just awesome to have familiar faces in such a great place.
Yeah, and it'll be cool that by the time Jaden gets there, you'll be able to kind of show him the ropes. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, I'll have a little bit more experience under my belt, so I can help him out a little bit. He'll be all right, though.
So we mentioned that senior worlds are coming up, and I'm curious now, what's the game plan to transition to preparing for that? And, in MMA terms, like you often hear guys talk about a proper camp, and we had a good camp, a bad camp, or a short camp, whatever. And I know that's more so in MMA. How does that prep for you, knowing it's a short turnaround? Is this more one of those benefits of like you compete so much in high school and then in high school and then in
Yeah.
freestyle? Like, is this one of those things where competing so often helps you, or what's this? What's the perspective here as you transition to a short window before you got to compete again at the highest level?
I think honestly, I kind of feel like I do better when I compete kind of more consistently, just because
Yeah,
um, I just feel more sharp when I'm competing. And sometimes when you have long breaks, it's just the training isn't as good, just because you're just focused on one thing, and it's just a long time before training. You get super anxious. But for me, when I compete like back to back to back, I kind of just like, oh, another business trip.
yeah.
But we also kind of planned it out like that. Like I could have went to the ranking series tournament, and me and my coaches kind of decided that just U20s would be better. So yeah, I'm just super pumped for seniors.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And to make the senior team, you had to be a New York legend, Yianni
Mhm.
D. And Yanni came on the podcast a couple of months ago, and we talked about you in the context of like, it's so funny how fast time goes. Like, Yanni went from
Yeah.
being the young guy to facing the old guy, and heading into Final X, he didn't know if he was going to have the older guy in James Green, the younger guy in PJ Duke, and it's crazy how quick he went from being the young gun coming up to a returning world medalist the young guy had to take out. What was your perspective heading into those matches with Yanni?
Yeah. So obviously I was a pretty big underdog. So obviously there was no pressure on me. I was expected to go out there and get beat up. So um, like other than that, it's pretty crazy just to be able to wrestle them, just because I'm sure you've seen that picture of me when I was younger. Again, I got a trophy signed by him. So, um, like just knowing that I'm competing against guys like that I was getting trophies signed by when I was younger, it's a pretty satisfying feeling knowing that. And even if I went out there and lost, like I would have still been like, wow, I'm finally getting to the big leagues now.
What is it like when it's easy in combat sports? I feel like to go against somebody you don't like. When you go
Yeah.
against somebody you looked up to, you respect a lot. What's that balance like in preparation for it, where you're preparing to take somebody out, and it's like, listen, it's you versus me. But I don't want to say it's not personal, but there's that. It's different when you have a bit of empathy. I feel like when like you said, you grew up looking up to him.
Yeah. Honestly, like I've had to compete against guys that I've known like just throughout my career, and guys that I've been super super close with, like growing up every day, practice together, stuff like that. And like I kind of always try to keep the same mentality, like we're friends and like all in that, but like when we're competing, we got to compete.
Yeah.
So like obviously Yanni's a great person. He's been someone I've looked up to, and all that said, like I had to go out there and compete. It didn't matter who it was. Like if it really comes down to it, it's my best friend. Like we're competing. And I think that's also just to be able to do that is to also have another layer of respect for them, because
Yeah, 100%.
you just respect them so much that you have to compete against them.
Yeah. And what was the transition like in your head? Like, you went out, you got Tech 10-0, then you guys have like a 27-point thriller, and then you get a
Yeah.
pin in the third match, which they were saying they don't know if Yanni's ever even been pinned before. Like, what was that series like for you going through it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster to wrestling, and I think it just was important for me to stay composed. And after that first match, even though I got smoked, I kind of knew I can compete with this guy, and I kind of just had to change a couple minor things. That second match was 9-2, and it kind of seemed pretty far, but he got up that gut and turned me twice, I think. So that like 6 point exchange with the takedown and two guts kind of made it seem a lot more than it was. But yeah, I think once I figured a couple things out, and you know, started going my way.
Do you think you'll stay at 70 kilos long enough to see a potential rematch with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the plan is for next year yet, but obviously if I go to seniors and medal, then I'm already in the finals and stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure what my weight will be, but it's
It's
possible for sure. It's
it, it's
possible.
It's early for sure. It's just one of those things I'm sure New York fans are like, we want to see that again. Like, that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
highlight of Final X, in my opinion. Like, even I was talking to KD about it, where when he was on here, it was crazy watching the juxtaposition of you guys walking out to the same corner, not just you and Yanni, but all the wrestlers. Like, you win or you lose, and your coaches and walking out. You and KD running out, Yianni and Mike Gray, like it was like a scene out of a movie. Like that's what wrestling is so fun when you have that level of excitement. And obviously,
Yeah.
like I love Yianni; he's one of my guys, so I was bummed for him, but I'm happy for you. So it's crazy, and like between you and Yianni and what KD's doing down in Long Island, like New York isn't the number one state people talk about. There's a lot of Pennsylvania, there's a lot of New Jersey. But man, you guys are doing so much for New York. You go from Dake to Yanni to you. Like, there's a lot happening in New York. How
Yeah.
does it feel to be representing New York and be a part of that elite group?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people sleep on New York for sure, and they kind of count us out. But like historically, New York's just had some freaking animals.
Some dogs,
Like you see,
yeah.
yeah, like I feel like New York, even though we may not have like the deepest, like we always have at least like one or two just really, really, really good guys. So obviously with Kyle and Yanni, like got some big shoes to fill in, and hopefully carry New York on my back with like they did. So
Yeah, speaking of big shoes to fill, I mean, they're both four timers. That's a lot of
yeah,
pressure. And we won't look too far past Worlds, but we talked Penn State and Penn State teammates, and now officially an incoming freshman at Penn State. How excited are you to make that collegiate transition, and what do you think you're kind of looking forward to the most?
yeah. I've been on campus for like a month, and it's pretty crazy just practicing, and I walk by rec every day or rec hall, and I see like just where they wrestle their matches, and I
Yeah.
live right next to the Bryce Jordan Center, so it's honestly I've been thinking about it a lot, just wrestling in that Penn State singlet. And one thing Penn State does it's a little different is when you get recruited, you never put on a singlet. And I know Coach Kale said it, he doesn't want guys who aren't on the team not wearing singlets or to not wear the singlet. So we had media day the other day, and it was the first time I wore the singlet, and it's been like probably two years since I've committed, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So it was just like a little thing that kind of was really cool for me just to finally put on that gear and wear that singlet. So I'm just super excited. I've been to so many matches, and the atmosphere is literally probably the best in the world. I don't think any other country or any other team has like the same level of love for wrestling as Penn State does. So I'm super pumped.
That's a cool tidbit because it is crazy. Like you see these kids recruiting, and I always think like it's funny. You see these guys in like four or five different singlets, and I've never been
Yeah,
in that position, so I don't know what the mindset is to want to do that. But I do
yeah.
like that. Like that. Like listen, you come here. That's when you wear the
Yeah,
singlet.
it makes it more like official.
Yeah.
Like I think it's pretty cool, when you're getting recruited, like if you don't even know a team and you're going there putting on the singlet, it's like a whole nother level when you gotta wait like 2.5 years or however
Yeah.
long it's been to actually get the singlet on. Like so it was pretty cool for sure.
That's awesome. And Willie and I were talking to your dad, Peter, great guy at Final X, and it was funny
Mhm.
because Willie's a funny guy to watch at a tournament or watch at an event because
Yeah.
he's always like fishing for information and not a bad way. He just likes to know what's going on. And
Yeah.
he was asking your dad, like, so what's the plan? Is PJ going to redshirt this year? Is he going to redshirt this year? And your dad's like, honestly, Willie, we don't know yet. Like we don't know 100% what the game plan is. And so I'm sure there isn't 100% maybe a plan yet, but what's your perspective approaching the season? I know a lot of fans are like, let the dog out of the cage. He's so good. Like,
Yeah.
what's your perspective heading into this year?
Yeah, like right now I've obviously thought about wrestling and stuff, and I still have no clue what the plan is. Obviously Tyler's capable of winning NCAA title. I think I'm in the running. So either way, I think Penn State's winning 157. So, but I honestly haven't thought about it too much. It'd be cool to wrestle, but obviously if I don't give the extra year of preparation, so I believe whatever the coaches tell me to do is the best decision, and I'm gonna leave it up to them.
I was just gonna ask, like, is that just a blanket level of trust? Like, hey, these guys, I'm committing to compete for them for the next 4 or 5 years. Like, if they tell me to redshirt or they tell me to go, like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think obviously they're the best in the world, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I know nothing compared to them. So if they and I believe I'm fully capable of competing at that level. So if they believe that I can do it, then obviously I'm gonna believe myself.
We talked a little bit about your Final X series with Yianni, and backing up a little bit more, you took out back-to-back NCAA champions, Antrell Taylor and Ridge Levitt, at the World Team Trials. And even though that's freestyle, does that give you a little bit of a confidence boost heading into the collegiate folk style scene?
Yeah, 100%. I think just getting a hand on those guys and feeling them out was definitely pretty cool. And I mean, folk style and freestyle, I mean, neutral's pretty similar besides the push outs and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously, scoring's a little different, but wrestling at the end of the day is wrestling. And if it was like folk style top and bottom compared to freestyle, I think freestyle relates to folk style pretty similar. Folk
Yeah.
style to freestyle with the top and bottom can change the matches a lot more.
Yep.
So I think if you can take a guy down in freestyle, you can take him down in folk style.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you have a preference, folk style or freestyle?
Yeah, I feel like I used to like folk style more, but I think freestyle is growing on me. I
Oh,
also haven't competed in folk style in like a long, long time now. Just obviously I did the New York season, but like nothing crazy high level for. I'm trying to think. Since Ironman, I think was like the last time I had a high level folk style event.
it's funny too because I always wonder when you go into college, and I feel like when you ask that question, folk style or freestyle, so much of that has to play into your experience of actually competing. Like I feel like
Yeah,
the rules and the actual match is one thing, but I do feel like there's a difference where when you're thinking folk style, there's a difference between wrestling in New York State and wrestling in a high school dual meet, or wrestling in Rec Hall, Bryce Jordan Center, NCAA. It's like
yeah,
when you're thinking folk style or freestyle, there's no comparison to atmosphere because nothing in the world can replicate or come close to what an NCAA scene is.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Just the difference. Like you would think like a world tournament in freestyle, you go there and there's thousands of fans and stuff like that. But like you'll go to like literally just was at U20 Worlds. There's probably a couple hundred people in there, and you go to a New York State tournament and there's thousands, which is it's just crazy the difference. Like
it's
people will never understand.
it's crazy that as the talent level goes up, so you have youth and then high school and then college and then senior level, and the pyramid
Yeah,
kind of gets smaller and smaller as the talent gets higher, and yet the fans get smaller because it's so much about
yeah.
participation. It's
It's
crazy.
literally like yeah, those youth tournaments. It's like a constant like going up, and then once you hit college, it's like the peak of entertainment, and then freestyle just
Yeah.
post college is straight downhill.
How
Like there'll be
excited
guys that are world champions and and most wrestling fans have no clue who they are. It's pretty insane.
Well, I dealt with that with an Iranian fan because after McAnally beat Romani, they're like, "Who's this bum that we like? Who's Max McAnally? Like, he's no
Yeah,
bum. Like, have you
he's
heard
a
of what
dog.
NCAA wrestling is? Like,
He's
this
a
kid's
dog.
the
Yeah,
hammer.
it's
Um,
crazy.
it's crazy, man. Um, let's talk about this real quick because we kind of talked about it before we got recording. I got into a little mini Twitter spat today because on FRL they were talking about you versus Aaron Pico. I quickly said Duke next topic. And tomorrow Willie and I are going to do a show recapping World. So for people who want to watch that, like that's going to come out. We're going to do that tomorrow morning and we're going to talk about this more. But I had said, look at Duke won a junior world title. Pico didn't. Don't care if Yazdani was in the bracket. And then Duke made a senior world team. Pico didn't. So that's my thing. And I also think wrestlers are better in 2025 than they were in 2015 or 2016. What is your take on if you were wrestling Pico in his wrestling prime? What do you think the outcome
Yeah,
would be?
yeah. I mean, as I was growing up, I kind of watched him, and I mean, he was an animal. I mean, so young, making the Olympics is like, it's hard to say. He wrestled at 65 kilos, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so I would have been a little bigger than him, but honestly, it would have been a crazy match. I think it could have gone either way, but it would have been definitely fireworks for sure.
He had such crazy hand fighting. Like I remember at the time I was working with Frank Molinaro. He was a client of mine. I was watching the
Yeah.
Olympic trials so closely with their
Mhm.
matches, and I remember thinking like his hand fighting. Like this kid is so tough, and being like I saw Christian Piles posted a video a couple days ago about how when Pico was wrestling and he got nervous, his coach would tell him to go shadow box because that brought his nerves down. and it just kind of relaxed him. And you could see how good with his hands are. So it makes sense that he's a good hand fighter. And here,
Yeah.
you're as aggressive as they come. Like, you come out,
Yeah.
and you're as aggressive, strong as anybody. So that would have been a fun match to see. It's one of those, like, it's one of those, you talk about this decade versus that decade. Are you confident that you would get the W versus him?
I think there was a pretty good chance. Yeah.
I like that. You got to be confident. You got to be confident.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to be confident. Like, I feel like if you're not confident when you're wrestling, then you already know the outcome,
100%. All right, let's do a little fan Q&A real quick. Now, normally I put this up for like a day. We kind of sprung this together quickly while it was fresh,
Yeah.
but right away people started asking questions, and some we already talked about, so some we'll leave those in. All right, so let's get to some of these. If training your 12-year-old self, how many hours a week would you lift and wrestle ballpark?
I would have to talk to my dad on that just because whatever he had me do was obviously pretty good. But I know when I was young, I put in a lot of time. Like, I would go over summers, and I would probably go to like 6-hour camps every day pretty much. So I literally probably spent like in the ballpark of like 2 to 4 hours training a day. And like some days was longer.
Yeah. This is a pretty similar question. What was your workout routine with your dad coming up?
Yeah, he never had me lift weights until I was in high school. So like a lot of calisthenics, like push-ups, pull-ups. I remember when I was younger, he had me climbing a lot of ropes. I used to do like carry my brother around. We used to live in a townhouse, so there was like a townhouse development, and I remember one time he made me carry my brother around like the whole thing, and I was crying the whole time. But yeah, it was a lot of hard work.
Did you notice you put on a lot of, like, obviously this is kind of a stupid question, but when you went from doing so much calisthenics, because I've worked with people who preach calisthenics through and through, did you notice yourself developing more muscle weights that much more than when you're just doing calisthenics?
I think I also kind of hit like puberty and a growth spurt at literally like the same time as I started lifting, so that kind of had a big effect. But like I feel like I always feel the strongest wrestling when I'm like the strongest in calisthenics. Like the weightlifting, like now I really don't weightlift. I kind of weightlifted a little bit for like 2 years, and then I kind of got away from it, and now it's kind of more back to calisthenics. And I feel like I always felt stronger doing the calisthenics more than the lifting. The lifting kind of just was, I think, just to get a strong base and just to get bigger.
Yeah. Jaden James in the comments wants to know, what's the best ice cream in the world?
Oh wow, I was with him yesterday, and I actually feel bad for him because his favorite is mint chocolate chip, and me and Katie we clown on like that's disgusting.
No,
that's embarrassing to me to like mint chocolate chip, but chocolate chip cookie dough is 100%. And Katie can agree with me. Katie will agree. Mint chocolate chip or cookies and cream. Either of those two is the goats.
Mint chocolate chip is garbage. Please comment on this video if you agree that mint chocolate chip is garbage. I would say vanilla or like peanut butter chocolate chip, something like that.
Yeah, I
go
agree.
Very basic, or if you're going flavors like peanut butter cookie dough chocolate chip, like
I feel like only weirdos pick like the crazy exotic flavors, and it's like, yeah, like I don't know, like when it's like mango something or other, like just get like vanilla. Like, what are you doing?
We're going to get Jax Forrest back on here because he's like an ice cream connoisseur too. I'm sure he's going to have some comments. What match at Worlds was your toughest this year for you?
Obviously, either the semis or the finals was the toughest. They were pretty close matches, and I would say that Iranian was a little tougher just because he was hard to score on. Like he had that really strong like righty collar tie, and he was really strong too, so he was hard to get by. I feel like the Moldova kid, I kind of scored when I needed to score, and but that kid, the Iranian was probably the toughest.
Was the Moldova kid? Was he the one you were up 5-1, then it was 5-5? I think it was down. I was talking to my buddy Don Machado about that match. And I'm like, very rarely in that situation somebody's up 5-1 and then lets up a 4. It's 5-5. but there's so much confidence. No worries, he's gonna score here at will, and then like this, you
Yeah.
score, and it's like,
Yeah. I felt I literally like if even if I was down like 4 points, I could have scored two takedowns and been all right.
yeah. This guy has a couple of comments, so he tried getting a long one in here, but the gist of it is going into a room like Penn State where everybody has so much success. How do you feel like you'll fit in?
Um, I like personally, I don't really look at people as like their wrestling accolades. I kind of try to look at them as people, and when you kind of, it can be pretty crazy to go in that room and look at everybody as like, oh, here's an Olympic champ, here's a world champ,
Yeah,
just because there's literally they're everywhere, and when you start to get in that room, you honestly don't even look at them as their like personally. I don't look at them for their wrestling accolades. I look at them as people,
yeah.
and it obviously when I'm practicing like, um, I'm it's awesome to be around such great wrestlers, but I kind of look at them more as people, and it kind of helps me just figure out who's who, and kind of less intimidating almost, you know.
No, 100%. I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah,
This one, some of these usernames too, like I always think that I'm gonna say like this is from so and so, but some of these usernames, they're just letters. Like I can't even pronounce them.
yeah,
Vestal Jackson wants to know how is the weight cut for U20 and what do you normally walk around at?
yeah. I mean, the 70 kg cut is it's pretty. It's not like super hard, but it's definitely pretty
Yeah,
hard. Like whenever I cut weight, it's I always look like really really bad. Like my face gets really sunken in, so
yeah,
it always looks like a lot worse than it really is. Like I was like 7 over for day one, and then like 7 or 6.5 for day two, which really isn't too bad. Like I'm a good sweater, so it's just like just getting a little workout in after like my last match, and then finishing up in the morning, and it's really not too bad. Like when I walk around, I can get up to like 65, 66, but like that's eating healthy,
yeah.
and then slowly like start to diet more and get down. If I'm eating like crap, I could get up probably like 70s, so like lower 70s. But I like I have a terrible metabolism. If I eat like one bad meal, like I gain like 4 or 5 pounds. It's annoying, but
Well, this one question is kind of related. There's a favorite cheat meal question.
oh, favorite cheat meal. I just love food, so there's honestly it depends on the mood, but like my go-to is Chipotle. I love Chipotle. It's not even that bad,
That's
but
not a
Chipotle.
cheat meal though. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that like you
If it's
go
like
work
cheat
out, you
meal,
can yeah, like a true cheat meal. Like you're gonna go crush pizza wings, like
yeah, I
something.
would say just like a pasta dish, like any pasta.
Yeah,
But I like penne vodka is really really good. Like I could
yeah.
slam a big bowl of
So could Willie. That's probably why he's not in the show right now.
that.
Favorite post weight cut recovery meal.
Post weight, yeah. It like that morning of, I usually like to I usually eat kind of lighter just because my stomach kind of hurts if I eat a lot. But
Yeah.
if it's like a morning weigh-in, I like eggs and potatoes just to get some carbs in, and eggs are good to eat on that same day.
All right, just a couple more here. We'll get favorite person to work out with at Penn State that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I like rolling with Nick Lee. Me and him have been wrestling a lot, and I feel like we're just kind of really good partners for each other, just because um, we both like some of the guys like to take it a little hard,
Yeah.
but I feel like me and Nick, we have like a good pace match, and we can both pick it up. We need to take it down if we need to. So Nick's super fun to roll with too. Like we kind of like talk smack to each other the whole time while we're wrestling, and it makes it fun.
Give me a for instance of something Nick says to talk smack to you.
Well, it's not like it's kind of just we try to like score each other's things. Like I would like take him down and be like, "Oh, that was too me," and I'm like, "You sure about that?" Like little stuff like that. But
Yeah, I
it's
love that.
fun.
All right, last one here. Biggest surprise so far on campus.
Big trying to think. Just like it's actually funny because as we're in U20s, everyone started to move in. Like all the normal students. So campus was a
Yeah.
little empty. Um, I'm trying to think. Biggest surprise. Uh, I'll tell you my favorite thing. My favorite thing's there's a little snack room right next to the locker room. That's probably my favorite thing. They have like a little Gatorade dispenser, and I hit that
Yeah.
up after practice, grab a little protein shake.
When
Um, I feel like there wasn't like any big surprises. I kind of knew what I was getting into, you know.
when Connor and Cole came on here, we caught Marcus Blaze coming out with a snack. He was
Oh
like,
yeah.
if, for,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah. I was in the locker room with them too, and because the Marisols, they're like, we're going on a podcast, but we didn't know they were in the other room, so Marcus just like walked in and was like, oh shoot,
it's so funny because you just see the door open a little bit and pop his head out. I need to like make an
yeah,
edit
yeah,
where it just zooms in on his face, but
yeah.
oh
I was
man.
my locker room's kind of right by that door or my locker, so as soon as Marcus came out, he was like, oh shoot, I'm in their video. It was funny.
Too funny. All right, last question here that I'll ask, then I'll let you go.
Yeah,
We talk about Marcus, and really has you guys as the number one and the number two overall in the class of 2025. This
yeah.
this class is just bananas. The class of 2025, what you guys collectively have accomplished is crazy. What does it feel like to be a part of such an accomplished class?
It's definitely pretty cool. Just obviously me and Marcus have grown really close just because we're roommates and on the same team and stuff. But it's pretty incredible just because I feel like I've said this before, but like growing up, I've grew up with a bunch of the guys, and I feel like we almost like push each other just to get better. You
Yeah,
know, those youth NHSCA duels, we're all competing in the gold pool, and I feel like we kind of just like I said, just push each other to all kind of strive to beat each other, and it just elevated all of us so much.
I love that. All right, PJ, thank you so much for this past half hour.
Yep,
Congrats
of
again
course.
on being a
Thank you
world
for having me.
champ.
Yeah.
Any final words here before I let you go?
Not really. I just want to thank you for having me. It was a
Of
fun
course,
time.
man. It's always
Yeah.
listen. I, go win gold, worlds, seniors in a
Yeah.
month. Let's do it again. Why not?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Sounds
Awesome,
good.
man. PJ, thank you so much, man. We'll talk
Yeah.
soon.
Nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. See ya.